Get ready, Helldivers, Super Earth is being invaded and it is time to upgrade our arsenal and talk about new patch notes. On the screen here you can see the new customization system where you can choose patterns for your weapons and attachments. Every weapon has something a little bit different, such as the crossbow you can only change the scope, whereas some of the other weapons you are able to customize the underbarrel, the scope, and the muzzle. And there are some weapons you cannot customize at all, most notably the ones from the crossover event. And although people have been really asking for a place to be able to test out weapons like a gun range or something of that nature, they do include with us in the bottom right hand corner at least a recoil simulator that will show you kind of what the recoil will look like when you're firing the weapon, because they changed all the ways the weapons work. Now, I simply don't have time to read through every single patch note because there's a ton of patch notes, but I'll put up the overview here, and a big part of that you can see is spread, drag, sway, and shrapnel spawning, as well as adjustments to fire damage under the balancing. And those spread, drag, and sway are the way that the weapons are going to work, and things like ergonomics and sway can impact the way that that is functioning. So you're going to see a lot of different ways that bullets are working and ways to optimize that with the gun room here. It is also worth noting you are going to start at level 0 for every single weapon. No matter how much you've been using them, it looks like they have decided that everyone is at level 0, level 1, starting from the beginning. And I know some people are a little disappointed with that since they've been grinding weapons and grinding the game for a long time. However, it's clear that they want this to be another form of progression. Some of the weapons upgrades cost requisition slips, so they want this to be something for you to unlock and something for you to do. So it makes sense that everyone's going to start at level 1 and you have to level up each weapon individually. It's also great for all the people who do want more content because now you've got a reason to drop with different weapons, try different things out, unlock new things, and play around with it. I think this is going to add at least 100 hours of content. Here you can see I finished one super Helldive at level 10. You can see my weapon went from level 1 to level 5, so leveling it up will take some time even if you're super Helldiving. You can see the unlocks that kind of unlocked as I leveled up and the requisition costs here. I personally was really hoping that the crossbow would have a little bit more options, such as different arrow types or the ability to change to like electric arrows or explosive arrows or poison arrows, but we might still see some things coming, right? This is the initial update. You can see there's underbarrels, there's muzzles, there's sightings, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get more in the future, different kinds of magazines or even additional options we don't have access to now. As for the actual gameplay itself, we have the big Illuminate invasion event. You can see there are some new enemies on screen here, the Stingray, the Crescent Overseer, and the Flesh Mobs. The Stingrays are the bane of my existence. It's like the enemy calling in an eagle strike on you. They just fly really fast above and drop a whole bunch of payload on you. They are fast, they are furious, they are a lot of fun, and the Flesh Mobs really do change up the gameplay a whole lot. And this is something we talked about, that the Illuminate felt incomplete, they felt boring because they didn't have all their mob types. Well, now they've got a little bit more. You still see like the swarms of overseers, and you still see the giant tripods walking towards you, but with the extra support and the extra beefy flesh mobs, they definitely feel a lot more complete, a lot more frantic, and a lot of fun. Pro tip on the Illuminate, since you're probably going to be diving on them for a little bit to push them back from Super Earth, the Wasp is highly overlooked and actually a ton of fun and works super well against the Illuminate. So if you haven't given the Wasp a chance, give it a chance on these guys. It works really well and takes down those flesh mobs really easy. Now, I brought the Breaker Incinerary for a very specific reason, because I wanted to test part of the fire damage balancing, as they wanted to make it a little bit harder to set larger enemies on fire, but they wanted that fire to be more impactful when it does hit them. So they are harder to ignite, but once they are on fire, the damage is really there, and it does feel a lot different. In addition, I really want to unlock the duckbill for this shotgun, which feels like it will be absolutely amazing. If you don't know what a duckbill is, it changes the spread of the weapon. Instead of shooting everywhere, it just shoots in a horizontal line, which I think is absolutely perfect for this weapon specifically. So I want to unlock that and play with that. And it's been a long time since we've had something like that in Helldivers, something where it's like, I really want to target a specific thing and unlock that. I haven't had that since, the initial, hey, I want to unlock these stratagems when I'm level 1. And even then, it wasn't really targeting things, right? You were just getting requisition slips and leveling up. This feels a lot more like a modern game in the sense of there is one thing I want to specifically target, and I really want to unlock it. And again, that feels really good. And for people who feel like they haven't had anything to do or no reason to log in, well, now you've got hours and hours and hours of content and reason to log in. Now, I did say I wasn't going to read all the patch notes, but it is worth bringing up. They did change the sidearm, specifically the ultimatum, and they did nerf it. They do offer some like why they made these changes, but ultimately it's not going to be destroying stratagem jammers anymore, but it can destroy illuminate warp ships once the shield is down. We'll see if these changes are actually good. The explosion damage is way higher, but the initial impact is way down. The idea is that it's not supposed to be a 380mm shell. It's not supposed to be an impact weapon, but rather the explosion itself is supposed to deal the damage. I didn't happen to bring it with me this time because I wanted to test out the laser pistol for a different reason. But I do think that it's a bummer at first because like the stratagem jammer was a huge help, but I think we'll adapt. And I do think overall it will be a more effective weapon. Like when we saw the change for the 500 kg bomb where it changed to instead of the impact, it was the explosion radius. I do think we're going to see a little bit more of that. So I do see the weapon still being useful. I do see that it will get a lot of use. It's just going to be a little bit of a change to how it works. And as always, they of course included bug fixes as well. Looks like there was a couple high priority bugs they finally got rid of, and they also fixed things like with the jetpack and a little bit of the wonkiness. So overall, a great patch. It will remain to be seen how much the current system of weapon optimization will really impact. If you look at like the way that a lot of them work, for few weapons it's just a scope, so that really won't impact the weapon too much. It'll just be a preference of like, do I want a 4x scope? Do I want a 2x scope? Do I want a red dot? I don't really see that making a whole lot of changes to those weapons, but the weapons where you can stick like an SMG now with a drum mag and a vertical recoil reducer, I do feel like that will be unique enough, it'll change it for you. I don't think your allies will really see much of a difference. Like, I don't think anyone's going to be inspecting your weapon and see, oh, hey, you have a drum mag. That's really cool. But I don't anticipate it being so different that it's going to become a meta like, oh, well, you haven't unlocked the drum mag and the recoil reducer, so we're going to kick you because your weapon's not optimized. I don't think you're going to have to play with the system if for whatever reason you don't want to interact with it at all. I don't foresee it being a big enough change that it's going to be a absolute require or shift the meta, but rather it's just a personal preference. I like my gun to have a little bit more ammo, or I like my gun to recoil a little bit less, or I can control my vertical recoil better than I can control my horizontal recoil, so I'm going to adjust that finely. Again, this is fine tuning. It is small changes. It's not going to overall change the entire way the weapon works, as much as I wish that it did for some weapons. And we might see that in the future. I would definitely love to see more magazines have like incendiary rounds. Be able to turn an SMG into an incendiary gun would be super cool. Having a gas shotgun would probably be some sort of war crime, but also cool. I do have one specific fear that I am going to bring up. I'm not saying they're going to do this. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just worried that it could be something, and that is locking some of those attachments behind a war bond. People have already been talking about disappointing war bonds and not having as much in them as they used to, or things that people aren't going to use. If they put weapon camos in there, great, I'm all for that. If they put specific attachments that you have to get through the war bond, I can see a lot of people being super upset about that. So I am a little cautious about that, but it remains to be seen what they actually do with it. So that's a quick overview of the patch. Hopefully you can stop watching this video now and go to diving and start leveling up those weapons and save Super Earth. They're right on the precipice of our border, so get out there, Helldiver, take them down. And take one last moment before you start helldiving, leave a comment down below. What weapon are you going to be updating first? What upgrades are you going to unlock? And what are you most looking forward to in the weapon tuning system? I'd love to hear from you. Have a blessed day and good luck helldiving.